Hi, everybody. My name's Abby. I run Heartspace Community Farm.
Hey, and I'm Clay Venitis. I'm an attorney in town, and I've worked with a few farmers on a few programs, helping them take advantage of things like this that Abby's going to talk about today.
Yeah, me and my partner moved out to our farm about 3 years ago, and funding, as any small farmer knows, is really hard to find. And the AgWest's grant is a $15,000 grant for new producers. So there's some eligibility requirements up here, but it's basically less than 2 years of running your own farm. And you have to be within AgWest's territory, so it's 6 or 7 states, Alaska being one of them. Yeah, $15,000 is pretty amazing, and it's basically for critical infrastructure to get your farm off the ground the first couple of years.
Yeah, and I believe the season in which it's open, or I believe it opens March 1st, and maybe deadline closes in the end of May. Oh, it's right there, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, well, you can check it right now. They just updated it, but yeah, so it can be a short timeline to get your application in, and so but keep an eye out for it at the beginning of March, if you're going to go for it. So yeah, what we're going to talk about today is Abby got this grant, and so we figured it'd be a good idea to for anybody else who wants to go for it, we just share Abby's really great application. My part was just helping with editing and thinking about where different information should go, and I felt like it was. I've helped a few people with this application, and it was the best application I've seen. So we figured we'd just share it with everybody because there's no reason to not let everybody else see what works.
Yeah, the application is it's a pretty significant time investment, I would say. They want you to take a few different classes on the AgWest website, but they're basically just financial basics that you should know if you're starting a farm. Yeah, you have to submit a business plan and a 1-page essay, and then a cash flow budget sheet, basically saying that you know what your finances are all about, you know how much money you make and spend, and you've made a little bit of money on the farm. So yeah, the essay portion, these are the 3 questions that they ask. The first one being, what life experiences have led you to choose a career in agriculture, and what have you done to support your plans in gaining expertise in your industry? The second one, how will this grant help you achieve your operational goals indicated in the business plan? And the third is, how will your operation benefit your community or help others? The essay, I think, of the portion of this grant is just a way to tell your story, essentially. There's different trains of thought on what's most important in submitting a grant, but I personally really value the essay portion just because it gives you a chance to talk with words instead of numbers, to tell why you care about the grant that you're applying for and why it would really help you in kind of creating the goals around you for your farm.
Yeah, and I think that after helping a few people with these applications, I'm not a farmer myself, so it's just a matter of writing in a way that is clear and gets your point across. But after helping a few farmers with this, I found that probably the most common pitfall that I'm seeing with new producers applying is to be a bit telling a story that doesn't speak clearly to where every single cent is going to go. So I would focus on tell your story and be very, very clear about what you are using the $15,000 for, why you need it, what your current operation is at, and why $15,000 is pivotal to getting you to the next step. A lot of times my notes or my comments to folks is how does this relate to $15,000? How does this relate to $15,000? The whole thing doesn't need to be specific to because yes, that's a good chunk of change. It's also it's not, an existential, life-changing amount of money. So I don't mean to say that you have to tie your whole story of your farm into how $15,000 is going to change everything. But if you're talking to them about what you're gonna do with that money, I would recommend against speaking about your farm in too many generalities and be willing to get very specific. Like Abby, we went down and we just delineated literally exactly the specific things you needed for the farm, in addition to your story and why you're here and why you chose to farm.
Yeah, I thought that was really helpful advice from Clay that I hadn't thought about before I started this grant application. Is really like, yeah, being clear in the numbers and kind of, yeah, just like spotlighting actually exactly how I plan to use the money for different projects in the farm. That was really helpful advice. Yeah, this is the cash flow budget chart that AgWest's provided, which you can either use their template, or you can use your own and just submit through them. This is the fourth grant that I've applied for and the first that I've received. This is by far the most work that any other grant had required. But yeah, this was a really good practice and just getting clear with myself and my partner and seeing like how much money we were making, how much money we were spending, just all in one place. Sometimes that's not easy to do. Yeah, so you can kind of see most of our income currently is coming from off-farm sources. There's a little bit of income that we make from our plant sale and miscellaneous vegetable and flower sales throughout the summer. But most of our money is being made off farm still, which is probably true for anyone that's going to apply for this grant. And the money that we're spending is mostly on a mortgage, property expenses, seeds, soil, building supplies, that kind of thing. I think something that Clay and I talked about a lot during this process was not the need for this to be perfect, but just to be really clear in how much money that we needed to really make these dreams a reality, and not just kind of like a dream world, how much money we actually needed to get things off the ground.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I realized that when Abby did it, which was, you just put everything down. You don't, a lot of farmers, if you're a new farmer, you don't have a lot of numbers to show. You don't have, it may not look good, your debits and credits, or you may just not have any history to show. Just show what you have, and I think it's really proving that you are taking this seriously and taking your own business seriously will come across in the clarity with which you put down your facts and numbers, and not so much how like robust your current financial situation is.
So the business plan is the third section of the application that took a lot of time. This is just a couple screenshots of the whole thing. In total, the business plan was about 9 pages long. Yeah, we went through our farm and our dream, and my partner and I came up with our mission statement and how this money would help propel us towards our goals. So we came up with the primary objectives of our farm overall, which were to develop an acre of land for the cultivation of veggies, cut flowers and herbs, create spaces for community gatherings and educational workshops, and improve food security for the communities north of Fairbanks, and in the next 5 years have 25% of our capital sourced from the CSA. And then after determining those, we then came up with some pretty concrete strategies for obtaining these goals, which prior to starting this application, this was surprisingly uncomfortable to name the money we needed for certain projects and just to kind of monetize it all, because in my head previously it just had been like, oh, my dreams, my goals, but like really to like actually be clear with the capital needed to kind of go forward, and all of this was, yeah, surprisingly uncomfortable. But yeah, this process, yeah, we So the strategies that we created were basically, we're working on soil fertility, and so this was a priority for this grant is more money for more soil and compost. And to build a 15 by 40 propagation house to start our seeds. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just add that, I think one, unique aspect of this grant that I like is, you'll see a lot of grants that are earmarked for training or training trainers or teaching people about how to do certain things, and this is just money to go to something on your farm, which is pretty rare and very needed, I think, in these programs. So, that's one thing, it just, touting it. And secondly, yeah, you'll see, and this is all recorded, so you can just, review this application if you want to write your own. But, which Abby has, graciously shared, and you'll see, like, it's quite specific: transport 4 to 5 additional loads of 10 cubic yards of soil to fill in the 1 acre farm field. Like, just get as specific as possible. As Abby said, it may feel odd. Everybody knows that plans change, and things change when you actually have to apply the money and what you buy from it into practice. But getting specific now just to show that, and this is what would happen in a perfect world. If that's a viable thing, then you have a shot at getting this grant.
Yeah, and yeah, as I said, the business plan in total was about 9 pages long. I just screenshotted 2 of the pages, and if anyone's interested, I'm happy to send the full application your way. But the other aspects that they were looking for included my work experience, which is basically where I demonstrated that I had experience with agriculture and small scale farming. The ownership structure of my particular farm, which is me and my partner sharing half and half. Our marketing plan, which to this point, we have not been selling very many vegetables or herbs, mostly with our plant sale. And so I spoke about the marketing for all of that. Margin and risk management, which basically spoke about prohibitive shipping costs and potential for things shipped to not get up here because we live in Alaska, and just some of the numbers needed to actually make this a sustainable farm business. The financial plan, which is encapsulated the cash flow sheet, and the human resources plan, which was just how in the next 5 years we anticipated it all flowing. Like, who is going to be working on the farm, part-time, full-time, how many employees, is it just me or is it just my partner? Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And that actually reminds me, based on your experience, that a reminder about the eligibility requirements. So some folks may be seeing this and thinking, well, I've been farming for a while, so on a lot of different farms, so this won't apply to me. But as Abby noted at the start, this is for that eligibility duration is the time for which you essentially have owned or directed the operations on a farm. So you could have worked for multiple farms for years, but only recently started your own farm. You would still be eligible in those instances.
Yeah, that's about it. Does anybody have any questions while you guys are up here? And we are happy to send out the application if anybody would want to look through it and learn from the process.
Yeah, and I'm happy to, I'll share my email somehow. I also have a presentation on farm taxes tomorrow, and so you can chat with me then, or I'll share my email then. But I'm happy to look at anybody's application just to give a second pair of eyes. But yeah, thanks for listening, and let us know if you have any questions. Abby's the one who did it, and really impressed by Abby's application. So I think other people should see it too. Thanks.
Hey, Abby, there's a question from Justin. He's online. He wants to know, are agriculture supporting businesses eligible for this grant? So say you have a business that is not a farm, but you support a farm by doing a service to them. Are they eligible for this grant, or is it just for farmers?
I believe you have to be the one producing the food. It doesn't necessarily have to be farming like in the ground, because I know some previous recipients of this grant were also fisher people. So it doesn't necessarily all need to be farmers, but I'm not sure if if it's Justin that I know, I'm not sure if his soil would be, yeah, I'm not sure if that would be a fit, but I'm not sure.
I think you'd have to ask the AgWest folks.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question, Justin? You can answer in the chat.
And Mel, there's a question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Go for it.
do you have any idea of approximately how many of these grants they'll give out each year?
I think they give out 15 this last year, but it's only 7 states. So that's helpful in limiting the number of applicants. They did say that they had like over 75 people apply. But yeah, 15 about this year. I'm not sure if that changes. This has only been existing for 2 years. This is the second spill of these grants, so this is a pretty new program.
And I'll add that the AgWest, they're not here, right? There's no AgWest folks here at this forum, but you see them around at these types of forums. So I would think, because they're here if you catch them. I think I see a question in the back too from Sam. Happy what you spend the money on.
Still being spent, but most of the propagation house, yeah, that's the photo at the end. Yeah, we built a really robust propagation house last summer, and now we're spending the rest of the money on figuring out heat and raised beds and soil this spring. Thanks for asking. Anybody else?
My question is, so what if you've been homesteading, but not really a producer, like you haven't really been selling to anybody? Are you still able to qualify? Are you still considered, you've been homesteading, let's say, over 2 years, but you haven't been a new producer in terms of for the public? Do you qualify?
I think you would qualify. I think they would want to see some proof of you trying to sell your product. I think this is more geared towards like market gardener, people selling product, but I think your skills would be applicable for sure. I think you just want to show them that you were trying to sell a little bit of your product.
And sorry, that's the other half of it, is just that in the past, I've been a producer, but if you're a new producer in terms of you're just coming into producing food.
Then yeah,
And I would just definitely just ask them, give them a call.
Okay.
And their website, when you type in AgWest new producer grant, their website does a really good job of being very clear about their eligibility requirements. And if you have something that's on the line, give them a call or give them an email, and they want people applying to this and excited about it. So if you reach out and say, hey, I did this, I did that.
yeah, they're really approachable.
Oh, I don't know the specific website, but if you
You can look on the table, soil and water table, there's some stuff.
yeah, there's AgWest.
Yeah, and mention the bags. We have one.
3 bags.
Yeah.
3 AgWest's bags. Everybody go pick
There's
them
not a
up.
pile, you can take them.
So there's another question.
Bonus of being here on Friday.
About AgWest and whether or not any producers in the room have become a borrower of money through AgWest, because they've only come into the state just recently as far as agriculture is concerned. They were providing money to fishers. She came out to my farm a couple years ago, and a few of us, she spent time talking to us and whatnot. So I was wondering, are people beginning to utilize this, at least in the interior? Anybody?
Facilitate.
Yeah.
Not as a grant, but as actually as a lending institution.
And anybody speak up.
You're using it as a lending. Okay, so
And they have also shown an interest in getting involved in agricultural easements. So that program that's run through the Alaska Farmland Trust, where if you put your land into farm status in perpetuity, you can, get a tax status and a monetary, award for, putting it into that status. AgWest has shown an interest. I don't know if they've done it yet, but they've shown an interest in being a lender with the promise of that program helping to pay back. So it might be a good choice for people to lower the capital cost of getting land themselves. But I don't know if they've done it yet, but they've expressed an interest in a couple of deals, so.
There's a part here about all the different programs that AgWest does support. Like I said, they wanted to be here. So they're in the business of helping farmers. That's what they want to do. And their card that they gave us, which has got a little QR code to go right to their website, they provide services such as financing, so you can get a loan through them, crop insurance, and other related services, agribusinesses, commercial fishermen, timber producers, and rural homeowners. So they're not just specific to one or two programs. They have a wide variety, and they have a lot of people that invest in it, and they put it back into supporting agribusinesses, which is a really great organization to figure out how can they help you. So take a bag if you want. I'm not here to promote it per se, but they gotta take advantage of everything you have available to you, and that's one thing. You can also talk with Brian Scoresby when he comes back tomorrow about all the programs that Division of Ag has. There's a lot there. Like I said, this wouldn't have happened without the specialty crop block grant, which is one small thing that they do. Brad, do you want to say? Okay. Well, we're doing what we can. Yeah, I know. Well, we're doing what we can, and these are a few things that reach out. There's also other interesting projects, programs available for you out there. Do research. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.